Morgan dollars, one of my favorite areas. I've talked about it every night multiple times, but there's one that just has a story. And it's just a story that just needs to be told. And every time I talk about it, I want to buy more coins. And that's because it is this one. It is the 1900 Philadelphia. This group actually came from an individual that lives on the King's Highway. Now, the best part about that is the guy wanted it left innocuous. There's a King's Highway up north on the northeast. There's one in the south. And there's one in the southwest. So, and there might be a few more. But that's the address. His address is actually the King's Highway. So we're giving it the attention from where it came from here. And we have them tonight, 1900 Philadelphia. And look at the price for uncirculated beauties, $69.95. That's the deal. Now, here's the reason why I love this coin. Every time I talk about it, I love it even more. The Pittman Act comes around in 1918. President Woodrow Wilson, after the sinking of the Lusitania, basically says, hey, we got to get into this thing, right? And we need money to raise for our effort as well as our allies at that time. So we passed the Pittman Act in 1918, and it's the destruction or melting of 60% of all the Morgan dollars. Well, remember, the original Morgans at that time in history, 1918, was 1878 to 1904, 27 consecutive years. So if you're going to destroy 60% of the Morgans, you go backwards kind of, right? Because you think about it, the government's, even though sometimes the government's storylines don't always make sense to us, picture their warehouse or their vault as a barn, right? I'm pretty sure that they didn't put the 1878s by the door. You open them up, and then you trip over it every single year for 27 years to put the 1904s way in the back of the barn. Most likely, the older ones were in the back, and as they kept on having more, they kept on adding. So when you open the door in 1904, the last coins in there were 1904s, right? It's just a general logical flow, which explains why when you look at population reports, because there's no records of what they did and didn't destroy. But since PCGS, NGC, and ANEX came to the floor in the middle 1980s, and they record every coin they see, what we also get to know is what they don't see. And that is the story of the 1900 Philadelphia. Everybody lumps it in there as an affordable Morgan, and it is. But it's not the same coin. Not the same coin at all. The numbers, scary when you break them down, actually, because they made 8.8 million, which is a little lower than average for a Philadelphia. But when you compare it to 86, 87, 19 million, 20 million, and then some of the earlier omens, right? The 83s, 84s, 85s, the 80s, the 81s, right? They're all, well, priced higher than this one. But when you go to the population reports and see how many coins these services have seen, that's when it changes drastically. The 86P, 300,000. 87P, 400,000. 84O, 490,000. 85O, 465,000. 80S, 371,000. 81S, 593,000 coins. All grades. So the circulated stuff to the really good stuff in 67 and 68. Right? The uncirculated gems. Then you go to the 1900. You look at that number, and it's 8.8 million, comparable to a couple of them. Comparable to the S-mints, comparable to the O-mints I just referenced. There's only 85,306 of them that have been graded, all different grades, all different conditions, right? That total number summed together. And it's a fourth. Yet it sells for less money. And some people think, well, it sells for because it's more recent to us. Rarity doesn't necessarily mean the more recent, the more available. If anything, the population reports I just referenced tell us the exact opposite story. So tonight, here's the fun one. $69.95. It's the changing of the millennium, right? We recently experienced that in the last 20, remember Y2K? Well, back then, 1900 was the big transition, right? And the world was changing, the world's growing up, and this is the coin that marked it, the largest silver coin in circulation at that time in history, the Morgan dollar. But you're looking at it, right? How gorgeous are these coins? From talking to the gentleman, whenever he got a coin, he put it aside, put it into a roll, and kept it. Kept on building his rolls, right? He held on to his prize, he thought the best group that he had. And he did this for almost a half a century. I'm ancient, he's a little bit older than I am. And that was this year, the 1900 Philadelphia's P Mint. As you can tell about the D and the O and dollar here in the bottom, there is no mint mark. That's a Philadelphia strike, didn't need to. But look at how clean, i.e. open there. But you notice the outside edges on this one? And I put this coin as the sample to talk about tonight because if they're put in the paper rolls, over time, soft metal, silver, oxidation, moisture in the air, the color of roll comes off on coin, which is why a lot of them are kind of ugly looking today. Well, the outside edges, and most of the bank rolls for dollars back then were the yellowish or vanilla color, right? So it's not uncommon to see yellower on the outside edge. Just helps prove out the originality of the coin. And that's how all of these were. Beautiful group of coins. It's always fun when you open up the rolls and you go through them and say, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful. And there's 17 more coins to go through in that roll, and you've already referenced that I love them all so far. And they stayed that way through the whole thing. So we've given this one a title called the King's Highway. That's where this group came from. But they are 1900 Philadelphia. It's a coin, and it's the value that's crazy on this one because everything you look at on this coin tells you it should be selling for significantly more than all the other middle-of-the-road affordable Morgans today. Yet it's not. My competition sells this one for $165, right? So they give it a little more respect because the other coins I referenced, the 85, 86, 84, 85, 80S, 81S, they're at 155 to 160 in that range for all of those, and this one's about $5 more from them. So a little respect. It should get a lot of respect because it's a fraction known today of this coin compared to the others. And when you go back again to the story of the barn or the vault, it makes sense as well. Guys, we're going to put a 30-second clock up. We're down to only a couple of rolls left, lots of multiples. Again, you can buy as many as you want. They're going to be encapsulated in a special presentation pouch, but you're not going to be paying $165 for them. Tonight, our price is $69.95. It's America's Value Channel. Value is our middle name. We take it seriously. Look at the quality of the coin. Look at the price. That's why the phones are busy. Be patient. Stay with us. This one's fun. We don't see coins this affordable anymore that are, well, 120 years old. Original Morgans from the Philadelphia Mint. Love this deal. You got to join me.